Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative here, and I like to get into some gaming news, some quick gaming news with you guys. On the topic of today, we'll be talking about Ninja Gaiden's possible return. And there was an article shared by Gaming Bolt not too long ago, taken by US Gamer. We're gonna get right into that, but let's talk about some history of Ninja Gaiden now. Ninja Gaiden was known as this balls to the wall, completely ridiculous hard arcade game that transitioned over to the NES. I remember the side-scrolling platforming Ninja Gaiden. It was hard as fuck. I remember those bottomless pits like a nightmare. But that game was very popular to a lot of people in the West, and then the series just sort of declined after Ninja Gaiden 3 on the NES, and then it had a resurgence back on the Xbox when Tomono Itagaki took on the project of making a free roaming hack and slash Ninja Gaiden game on the Xbox, and to much of our surprise, it was a great game. It was a great asset to the hack and slash genre, but the game was hard as balls also on a 3D landscape. So what Ninja Gaiden is particularly known for is its extremely hard difficulty, and I love the series, honestly. I love the Tomono Itagaki take on them, but when they reached Ninja Gaiden 3 from that era, we hit a standstill. We had situations where Ninja Gaiden 3 came out and it was a complete mess. A lot of people didn't like it for several reasons. I'm pretty sure for them to release Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which is basically the apology game for releasing such crap like Ninja Gaiden 3, for implementing all the stuff that was in the previous games and still having these problems because it's based on the original game, tells you something of what happened in the development with Ninja Gaiden 3. I just think that the director change at that point, I mean, Itagaki knew what he was doing with the first two games, but the director just couldn't get a grip on this next entry, so that's why it went so terrible. So one of the problems they could fix with the new Ninja Gaiden game is to make sure that Hayashi has a lot more experience to handle what he's working with, to know what he's working with, and to go back and reevaluate the first two entries before moving on to Ninja Gaiden 4. Now, let's forget that Yaiba was ever conceived, and let's move on to the quote itself, and I'm going to sort of read the quote and give my interpretation of what's going on. So, the creative director of Team Ninja, Tom Lee, replied to US Gamer and said that they wouldn't be able to call themselves Team Ninja if they decided to retire Ryu Hayabusa. This means that basically they understand that Ryu is a flagship for their company, and they are not going to just shelve Ninja Gaiden just because they had some bad entries. Tom goes on to say that maybe I can say that Neo is a gateway into the next chapter of Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden is very important, if not the most important franchise for us. But at this point, I think this franchise needs to be in the shadows for a while until we bring it back. There will be a time, and when the time is right, we will bring it back. So basically what that means is the series is just on a little bit of a dormancy. It's not coming back immediately because, you know, they have Neo to deal with first, and that's completely understandable. And I guess if Neo is the bridge to another new Ninja Gaiden game, then maybe that means that they're hoping that Neo sells well so they can have the assets and maybe build on a new Ninja Gaiden game after the fact, after Neo has finished, you know, being out there, being released, being in the gamers' hands, and then maybe they can toy with the possibilities of making a new Ninja Gaiden game. But it seems like they want to wait until the time is right, so they don't want to do it right away. They don't want to do it immediately and sully another opportunity like they did with Ninja Gaiden 3. They want to make sure that the time is right, the opportunity is right, and whenever they're ready, they will bring it back. For my fourth and final point, I'm going to talk about what does the future hold in store for Ninja Gaiden and what could they fix for a sequel. So, first things first, what does the future hold? I think that the name Ninja Gaiden is very relevant. I think a lot of people wants to see Ryu Hayabusa return. After that long stint, that long gap, a lot of people want to see this game again. So what they need to do for marketing purposes is they need to advertise this is a sequel and Ryu Hayabusa is back. Instant genius. A lot of people wants that. So for hopes and aspirations, don't be like Ninja Gaiden 3. Don't give us just one weapon at launch and then patch the other weapons in as DLC. People want to see that free flow combat. They want to see that back in the series. They want to see all the crazy stuff you can do with Ninja Gaiden 2, all the crazy weapons and obliterations and gore. That was simply superb. I think another thing they could improve is the frame rate, because Ninja Gaiden, the frame rate and resolution, because Ninja Gaiden on the PS3, it's not perfect. They have frame drops in Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma from what I noticed, so they need to keep that stable 60 FPS. Keep that consistent. And I would love to see all that crazy action go on screen next gen at a more stable frame rate, updating the engine. So another thing they could improve is just, I am not sure about the whole, I think they should keep Still on Bone. Still on Bone was great. It was essentially a counter technique where an enemy glowed red and tried to strike you, and that was your means to parry him. So I think that should stay. That was really good. The way Still on Bone worked in Ninja Gaiden Razor's Edge presented a challenge. It was hard to pull off actually, but when you pulled it off, it was rewarding. And then I think they need more weapons. I always like seeing new creative things that Ryu has in his hand that could obliterate people no problem. Now, at this point, I could talk about Ninja Gaiden until I'm blue in the face, but I'm going to let the episodic discussion of Ninja Gaiden do that for me. So if there's any questions that I missed, any enhancements that I want, is going to be in that particular podcast in this annotation right now. So go ahead and click on that, check that out. It will also be in the description for you guys. I would highly recommend it. Once again, to summarize this basic point, if it's going to be a sequel, it needs to be enhanced to hell. They need to keep all the stuff that worked and leave all the stuff that didn't on the cutting room floor. This is Renegade Operative signing out. I'm very excited. I hope things go well with Neo for Team Ninja. I hope things go well for the Ninja Gaiden that's imminent in the future. And props to them for listening to our fan feedback with the surveys for Neo. Not a lot of game developers do that, unfortunately. A lot of game developers don't listen to feedback, so I gotta give Team Ninja credit here. I think that maybe doing something like this for Ninja Gaiden as well could help out in their favor as to what fans want, as to what fans dislike, and what fans want to see again. So Team Ninja, props to you. Hopefully you continue this in the future. This is Renegade Operative once again signing out. See you guys next time. Later.